Gambia's Minister of Health Wednesday announced one COVID-19 death and 36 fresh cases were also recorded. Rebel groups in Darfur are set to integrate into Sudan's army after a peace agreement with the government. And Senegalese superstar has presented his Milestone City project to President Macky Sall. Well, this and more coming on the world today. Hello there, this is Africa TV and you are watching the World Today News Bulletin. I am Amadou Kante. Many thanks for joining us, and now the news in detail. Now, the Gambia has recorded one new COVID-19 related death on Wednesday, the first time in 5 days. The total number of COVID-19 deaths is now 97 rather. 36 new cases were also reported by the Minister of Health. The total number of confirmed cases is now 3,067, of which 1,703 are under treatment and 1,267 have recovered. Due to the surge in the number of coronavirus cases last week, President Barrow extended the nighttime curfew by another 21 days and maintained the state of public emergency. And from that latest situation of the COVID-19 in the Gambia, we move on because shop owners, pedestrians and highway vendors have launched serious complaints over the piles of garbages as a result of the gutter cleansing exercise by agents of the National Road Authority. The refuse has since been abandoned on the roadside, causing offensive odor in the affected areas. Mariama Cham tells us more of that.
As the world continues to battle the deadly COVID-19 pandemic, one of its safety measures of hygiene is being violated as the 2020 rainy season presents challenges on the drainage system within the Greater Banjul area. The solution to unclog water passage along the busy Westfield-Brikama highway is now manifesting environmental pollution after the refuse from the gutters formed heaps mainly on the footpath. This situation obstructs the pace of hygiene for businesses that have their work yards infested with all forms of rubbish from the waterways. Although the intention for the activity might have been positive, the outcome, according to the affected individuals, provides a nutritive breeding ground for the malaria-causing mosquitoes and other insects. Ivan Gredba, a shop owner, is among those who welcome the cleansing idea, but not without blaming the authority for the failure in getting a proper full stop.
It's really good. It's really part of the development of the country. But this thing is really affecting us as we who have shops on the highway. Because sometimes when they remove it out from here, it used to be here at least 2 or even 3 weeks. So sometimes even block customers from coming. Sometimes these cars that are passing here, they just come and when somebody want to park a car around here, they just come and march on it, and everything will come back by the shop side. I think if they are to do that, they can remove it and move it from people's shop, but sometimes they come and put it at the center of your shop. So all that people are coming, they are marching it, bringing in the dirty inside the shop, and some they come, car will just come and spoil everything. Everything will be coming back to the shop.
The garbage pollution is a concern for even pedestrians like Ibrahim Danso, who told iAfrica that the health and well-being of the people should have been calculated.
Because it's very sometimes
the garbage is really disturbing us a lot. This has been here since the day it was removed from the gutters. Sometimes customers will prefer to stay away due to the bad odor of the garbage. There is black oil inside the gutters, so when it rains and drivers overspeed, it will enter in our shops. We really want this garbage to be cleared from here.
With the long term of inaction as regards to the removal of the garbage on the roadsides, Abdurrahman Jallo expressed concern on possible exposure of the meat in his butchery shop.
It is almost 1 week since this garbage was left here. Even sometimes, my customers will complain that I should call people who are responsible to remove the garbages, or any KMC vehicle that is passing by. My response to them is that I cannot call them because I was not the one who assigned them to do so. I am really in a haste for these garbages to be removed from here because it is really affecting me.
However, Bakary Mane, Public Relations Officer of the National Road Authority, admits that the garbage has been there for a while without being collected. He also said that those responsible also had challenges cleaning the garbage on the roadside.
You have rubbish that stays. I will not argue with that. That stays more than a day on the road. I mean, we heard about that one and we followed it. We make sure they pick it so that the road will be free. In fact, that one even added unnecessary traffic jam during that time, which is not right. But it's not their fault. It's not our fault. I am saying collectively, it's the fault of the whole Gambia government. We should take the responsibility. When it's right, we should come and say this is right. When it's wrong, we should say it's wrong, but we should not be doing the blame game to everybody or anybody to say no, it's not institution X, it should be institution Y. That will not take us anywhere.
Mane said people need a change in attitude and should refrain from connecting their home sockaway to the gutters.
The saddest thing on this operation, attitude needs to be changed in this country. The drains are being constructed purposely to drain out the stormwater. That is the rain water. The people living or the people doing business along these roads, we are saying, especially Westfield to Lamen, this is where the huge problem is. Pampas, how do you call it? Pampas. To take Pampas from your own house, you come and dump it into the drain. What are we sending out to other nations? Everybody is asleep. You take your own rubbish, you come and dump it into the drains. We have bottles, all kind of bottles, alcohol, non-alcohol, anything into the drains. Everything, all kind of rubbish is in the drain. It even come to our notice. One of our contractors calls us at Latrikunda. That can you come here because we cannot clean here. Why? Says somebody connected to the sewage. Can you imagine? The sockaway. You connect your sockaway into the drains.
For iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
And from the report there by Mariama Cham, next we head to North Africa because the impact of COVID-19 pandemic has forced Egypt to suspend new stock offerings until the end of the year. But the government's decision did not go down well with the private sector businesses despite its support to limit the losses in the exchange market. Experts say the move doesn't come as a surprise but hope that the effects of COVID-19 would soon fade away. Here's more details of that.
The Egyptian exchange market has been shocked to hear that new public offerings have been scrapped for now. Investment banks have opted to wait and monitor how the COVID-19 pandemic pans out. Only 2 initial public offerings have been made in 2020. This is seen as a reflection of concerns related to the pandemic.
We can say that the losses have been limited. That's because the government gave huge support to the Egyptian Stock Exchange and central bank pumped £20 billion into the market to make up for the losses and avoid a major shock.
The same has happened with the government's privatization plan. The Minister of Public Enterprises announced that he ordered the 20 state-owned companies and banks to postpone the sale of stocks to the private sector till next year.
Privatization in the current climate will mean the prices of state-owned companies will be unfairly low, so they will use the time to reorganize their structures so that the next year they could attract better offers.
Some experts believe these decisions have not come as a surprise. They just hope the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic would diminish as soon as possible to avoid more losses for the companies and the stock exchange.
And from the report there in Cairo, Egypt, we come close to Senegal because following his launching of a $6 billion project to transform a coastal village into a modern city in Senegal, more than 50 miles away from the capital Dakar, Alioune Badara Cham, alias Akon, has presented the state-of-the-art facility project to President Macky Sall. Details of that in this report. Senegalese singer Aliou Badara Cham, alias Akon, has formally presented his project to President Macky Sall barely 3 days after laying the first stone of a mega city in Boyen, a coastal city 62 miles from the capital Dakar. The US Senegalese singer is leading the $6 billion project to turn an oceanfront village in his native country Senegal into a stunning metropolis that bears a striking resemblance to Wakanda. The African sci-fi super city, the Black Panther calls home. The plans depict gleaming skyscrapers, shopping malls, music studios, and eco-friendly tourist resorts. The Akon City, which was announced in 2018 by the 47-year-old singer, will also feature every aspect of a regular city, from a luxury condos to a university, hospital, and even a beachfront resort. Senegalese Tourism Minister Alioune Sarr, who attended the laying of the foundation, said it is a laudable initiative. Sarr also said that the project came at a time when private investment in West Africa is crumbling amid the economic challenges brought about the COVID-19 pandemic. Akon vows to provide the city with opportunities for the Senegalese people and an alternative home for African Americans facing racial discrimination. Senegalese music star Akon presented his city project to President Macky Sall. And from that report, we come back home because in recent weeks, Gambians have been complaining on social media of severe disruption of water and electricity supply, which the National Water and Electricity Company NAWEC said it is as a result of generator maintenance. Aissatou Tamba has more details of that in this report.
Many Gambians are unhappy with what they call NAWEC's poor service delivery. The shortage in power supply has affected several small businesses that rely on power to operate daily. Momadou Mbalo, a barber who said he has been in the business for the past 3 years, said he is forced to incur more costs and customers are sometimes discouraged by the power cut.
Because all these days, we are having problem with NAWEC system because time to time we will be barbing our customers. Within a short period, light will go off. Then from there, we will be using our generator and then it costs us a lot. So yeah, it sometimes costs us a lot. So like fuel and then other things, sometimes it discourages our customers as you know that they cannot wait for us to prepare our generator and other things. So therefore, we are also been suffering in that area.
Yaya Sarr, a tailor and a resident of Latrikunda Sabeje, said the lack of electricity, said he has quarreled with clients due to the poor shortages, especially during the recent Muslim feast.
Yes, it's a problem because we are facing a lot due to the lack of electricity because time to time we will be barbing our customers within a short period, light goes off. And from there, we will be using our generators and that causes us a lot of money. And at times, it even discourages them because they will tell you that I can't wait. And that's how we lost our customers. And that is really making us suffer a lot.
Per Silva, the NAWEC spokesperson, told iAfrica that the generator in Kotu and Brikama are shut down for maintenance. He also said the parts or materials needed for the maintenance of the engines are currently unavailable.
And as a result, if you look at our power stations in Kotu and in Brikama, as we speak, some of those engines were due for overhaul. When I say overhaul, they were due for repairs, but the materials are not there. But we cannot also allow them to continue to run beyond the advice that have been given to us by the suppliers. So as a result, they have to be shut down. So now we have a new management, a new managing director. And for him, together with the board and the management team here, they have put up a task force to make sure that those engines that are shut down as a result of they are due for maintenance and the spare parts are not there, they will find a way in which this spare part should be in town, get those engines up and running, and so that we stabilize a little bit and go to the second phase of the roadmap.
Electricity supply in the Gambia has always been a problem, making the country a difficult place to do business. In June, the World Bank approved a $43 million grant for the Gambia's electricity restoration and maintenance project to improve access to water and electricity. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Aissatou Tamba.
Gambians are expressing concern over the poor supply of electricity in the country. And from that report, we will now take a break and come back shortly with the remaining of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back, and you're watching the World Today News Bulletin on iAfrica TV. And now to the rest of the stories. Now, Gambians in the diaspora will vote in national elections for the first time in the country's history when polls open for presidential, legislative and local government elections. In May, the Independent Electoral Commission (IEC) announced it has included diaspora participation because electoral reforms included giving all a chance to vote. But how significant has this announcement Mariama Cham has been finding out?
In 2015, there were nearly 90,000 Gambians abroad, according to the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. In 2016, this group of Gambians who could not vote helped influence the elections by sending more than $100,000 to the opposition coalition, which ousted a 22-year dictatorship that entrenched their exclusion. While not every single one of them is likely to cast their ballot in 2021, a significant number of them are politically active and are likely to take part in the vote. But can they make a difference? Pasamba Jau, a prominent activist based in the United States, thinks so.
Part of the diaspora voting into mass. Because you're talking about a voting bloc that is over 150,000. Is more than half of what Adam Barrow was able to secure, my math is right, to get the presidency. So, and you're talking about a voting bloc that only is politically active, but one that is financially viable.
While diaspora Gambians to vote was guaranteed in the country's constitution of the 1997, a dictatorship that showed them as rebellious pushed most of them out and disregarded their constitutional rights. Now, after financially helping end that dictatorship, diaspora Gambians are optimistic that their long-held wishes of directly participating in national elections will be achieved.
But the IEC has finally decided to at least has made a declaration of intent that we, the diasporans, will finally participate in elections.
The Gambia's election body, the IEC, wants to be seen to be doing things right after overseeing elections that ended what some call the worst dictatorship you have ever heard of. Its public relations officer, Joseph Collis, said it was important to implement the laws that provided for diaspora voting.
That the IEC has been trying to do these things because they're part of the laws, but to no avail. But this electoral cycle, we have sort of decided to put it in so that at least our people in the diaspora can also exercise the franchise, because we know they contribute a lot, to this country, especially the economic growth of the country, even in the political arena. So that's why we deem it necessary to make sure that at least we comply with the provisions of the law, to make sure that at least they are catered for. Yeah.
While Colley is optimistic this could work, he is aware of possible challenges in voter registration and voting by some members of the diaspora. There are problems of lack of documentation among them.
Because not just saying that you are Gambian will let you. You have to prove that you are Gambian. And you know, like in certain countries, like if for instance, if you take their nationality, you forfeit your own nationality. I know in certain countries you have dual citizenship, but I think Finland up to some few years ago, if you become a Finnish national, you forfeit. You know, these are some of the things that we look at. You know, there are challenges with this, but we have counterparts that we're working with, so that at least we have the statistics that will inform us as to which country to go.
The 2021 elections will be crucial according to Malik Jones, an election night analyst. He said it was important that political parties have representatives in every selected country for the purpose of transparency.
So whether each of these parties, the political parties that are going to take part in the elections, will have their representatives there to be able to monitor and to be able to shall I say, give their okay to the results, vouch that these results are authentic. Now you must have independent people as well who will also oversee. So it's going to be a costly affair, but I believe that the IEC is a very unique organization here, and I trust that they will be able to run these elections, which will look at the diaspora in a very fair and transparent way.
Malik Jones said the reality of the diaspora voting process depends on the readiness of the Electoral Commission and the government.
2021 is going to be crucial. We still have a pending by-election in Yamina. We still have a referendum for the new constitution, plus the presidential election, National Assembly elections, mayoral elections. These are all very costly. So for me, voting in the diaspora, this is going to be a pilot project, and it is going to be a test for the IEC to see whether it is sustainable or not.
The Gambia is transitioning to proper ballot in the next cycle of elections, having used the decades-old marbles and drums. Should a new constitution be adopted before the 2021 polls, the country will also, for the first time, adopt a second ballot system where candidates fail to win more than 50% of the votes face off in a second round. The West African country had since independence in 1965 used the first-past-the-post system of voting, where a simple majority decides the outcome of the elections. For iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
The Independent Electoral Commission set to open the door or window for the diaspora Gambians to take part in future elections. And from that report, we stay home because Dr. Philip Sen, a Christian and a public health specialist, has expressed concern over President Adama Barrow's declaration of the Muslim Year or Muslim New Year as a public holiday, where the same significance was not accorded to Sang Mari, a Christian feast which preceded the Muslim New Year. This decision has raised concern from Christians and even some Muslims on social media and sparked a fresh debate about double standard or pretendial treatment of one faith over the other by the Gambian government. Sona Tunkara has more details of that.
The Christian feast of St. Mary celebrates the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Mother of Jesus Christ, on August 15th each year. The day is traditionally recognized as a faith-based holiday in the Gambia since the 1950s. However, this year it passed without the President Adama Barrow declaring a public holiday as he did for the Muslim New Year feast that was observed on August 29. Dr. Philip Sen, a Christian and a public specialist, told iAfrica TV that the President not declaring St. Mary a public holiday was both surprising, shocking and disappointing.
So for this year, it was a surprise, it was shocking, it was disappointing that it was not declared a national holiday. And we thought at that time that probably it's due to the COVID-19 pandemic health regulations. And also some people thought that Saturday was not a statutory public holiday. That for these reasons, it was not declared. And nobody queried anything, and it went on. We had our disappointment. We tried to celebrate it, conforming with the regulations. Then, 2 weeks later, before the 2 weeks even, 3 days to the Muslim New Year feast of Ashura, it was announced over GRTS that that Saturday would be a national day of rest.
In recent years, the Christian community has felt overlooked in key government decisions affecting faith, including ex-President Yahya Jammeh's declaration of the country as an Islamic state in 2015. But as the country tried to break with its brutal past, Christians, like most Gambians, celebrated the coming of Adama Barrow. Dr. Sen said he hopes Barrow does not descend into the route of former President Jammeh.
I hope not. When this president for the Third Republic came in, we all jubilated because we thought that was bringing a new era, an end to the tyranny, to the fears that we were under the Second Republic. We thought it has brought that to an end. And up till now, it is our fervent hope that it is so, that we will follow the new path, the new Gambia that we all anticipated and eager to support. It is our country.
Last week, Dr. Sen wrote an open letter to President Barrow after social media demands for an apology were unheeded. This, according to him, shows the president's total indifference to Christians' concerns. Many Christians anticipate an answer to the question, how comes the president and his religious affairs advisors were fully awake for the celebration of the Muslim New Year and not sang Mary for Christians? For iAfrica TV, Sohna Tunkara.
And from that report there by Sohna Tunkara, next to France, because the satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo republished Prophet Muhammad cartoons to mark the beginning of the 2015 massacre trial in Paris today. The trial kicked off following the delay posed by the coronavirus pandemic. 14 accused persons are facing trials in France for helping the Islamist militants who shot dead more than 12 people in and around Charlie Hebdo's Paris office in January 2015. Charlie Hebdo has a history of attracting controversy with its publication caricaturing Prophet Muhammad on its cover pages, whose depiction is forbidden in most Islamic interpretations. Now, in its spirit of driving the coronavirus from the source of the Gambia, the Red Cross Society on Monday launched its community and accountability approach at its headquarters in Kanifing. The aim of this initiative is to involve communities to actively participate in the fight against the respiratory disease. Our Makalo has more details of that.
The Gambia Red Cross Society is visibly spearheading this fight against COVID-19. They voluntarily execute the burial of those killed by the virus almost on a daily basis. But they are also empowering and enhancing the public health and socio-economic systems to minimize the effect of the pandemic in the Gambia. Speaking at the launch of the community and accountability approach, Buba Dabo, the disaster management coordinator of the Gambia Red Cross Society, said there was a need to involve communities to cope the spread of the virus because community transmission was on the rise.
How are we going to do this? It's very simple. Because of our response plan, we now want to engage the communities themselves. We have been talking to the radios, from TVs, We have been doing caravans ourselves, but yet still the disease is upsurging in the community. So we thought the best option now is to engage the people themselves, to talk to their people.
The voluntary organization began its community engagement approach with the One Gambia COVID response in Banjul. The outcome was positive and the initiative is being extended to other communities across the country, according to Alassane Senghor, the Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society.
As you might have heard, the train had already left the station. A couple of weeks ago, we were approached by One Gambia COVID Banjul, and we started working with them through our branch in Banjul, and they were able to deliver in 2 weeks very tangible results from what you've heard from Mr. Jahate, who is the chair of the Banjul branch. And we will continue to engage. Because of that success and because of that achievements in Banjul, we decided that we need to look at, one, the context of COVID in this country. Two, as Buba rightly alluded, we have a plan, a preparedness and response plan, which is based on scenarios, but also very dynamic in the sense that from time to time, based on the context, we need to revise the plan so that it adequately addresses the needs at that particular time.
Modu Toure, the communication officer of the Gambia Red Cross Society, said they are already in touch with other local communities to inform them about the ideas of new approach to fighting the coronavirus. There are more than 3,000 confirmed cases of the virus in the Gambia, including 96 deaths, and a little over 1,000 recoveries as of 1st September 2020. For iAfrica News, I am Julden Suare.
Indeed, that report is filed in there by Julden Suare, as you heard, instead of our Makalo, as I mentioned earlier. Now, finally to Sudan, because Sudan's government has signed a peace deal agreement with 9 rebel groups from the western region of Darfur. The historic agreement signed in South Sudan is expected to open a new page for transitional justice and to bring unity among the parties in the country. Despite the government's commitment to end the conflict, other groups opted to stay away from the negotiation, noting that they are not ready to join the Sudan National Army. He has more details of that in this report.
The agreement is between Sudan's new government and an alliance of 9 rebel groups from the western region of Darfur, South Kordofan and Blue Nile. The deal includes a security arrangement that dictates that opposition forces be integrated into Sudan's armed forces. The peace agreement gives more powers to state and local governments. It also provides for a transitional justice and a return of people who fled their homes due to war and reparation.
By signing the comprehensive peace agreement today, we will have turned the page on war forever. And I see this historic moment to call upon the other opposition movements to join peace now and not tomorrow, and to forever renounce fighting.
However, a faction of Sudan Liberation Movement led by Abdel Wahid Al-Nur and a group of the Sudan People's Liberation Movement North, headed by Abdelaziz Al-Hilu, have rejected the security arrangement and are not part of the deal. They say they don't want their armies integrated into Sudan armed forces, at least for the next 20 years. Sudan's government says it will continue to engage the groups to reach a peaceful settlement.
This peace agreement covers the political situation and security arrangements in the whole of Sudan, and also the economic situation. Full development will only be realized in our country by this comprehensive peace agreement.
The rebel forces have been fighting against what they say was economic and political marginalization by the government of former President Omar al-Bashir. The opposition forces are largely from the non-Arab minority groups. Peace talks have been going on in South Sudan for a year.
I would like to express my appreciation to the parties for accepting the call for a just and peaceful settlement of the conflict through political dialogue, and for accepting our offer for mediation.
The United Nations says about 300,000 people have been killed in Darfur since rebels took up arms there in 2003. Sudan's transitional government says it is committed to ending violence in the country. Previous peace deals, including one signed in Nigeria in 2006 and Qatar in 2010 during the time of former President Omar al-Bashir, failed to end civil wars, but the new deal signed in Juba is raising hope among many Sudanese people who say there is now a new government in Khartoum that they believe will implement the agreement.
Rebel groups in Darfur, they are signing a peace agreement with the Sudanese government after many years of civil war in the country. And with that report, we finally brings this news bulletin to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, as always, you can log on to our website on africa.tv. Well, once again, many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and bye for now.